Awesome. I can see some people online now. Great. So if you didn't catch that, then I was just explaining that we're not going to be. So yeah, you won't need your sticky mats today. So if you want to put a blanket, I've got a blanket over my mat. I've also got something else to just wrap around me for one of the exercises. So if you have a belt or a blanket or just literally anything you can put around a strap, anything like that. But if not, then again, that's absolutely fine. And just have a pillow or something you can lie on your side. But again, if you don't have any props, you don't have any blankets or anything, then don't worry. Everything can be done just on the floor as you are. And in the last video, my internet was going in and out. So if that happens, just continue with whatever activity we're doing. And I'll just continue on when I reload the page and then it kind of starts again. And then on the recording, there might be a few kind of blips, but it will just carry on. So I'll try and make it as smooth as possible for everyone. I'll make a start. So we're going to start in a comfortable seat, and if that's not possible for you to find, if you're not that comfortable seating, you can do this lying down as well. It's absolutely fine. But if not, then finding a comfortable seat position. So I'm just sitting on my bolster, kind of leaning over my bolster here. Starting to find a comfortable seat, settling down, and allowing the eyes to close. I'm only going to keep my eyes open so I can check that everything's working tech-wise. So just closing down the eyes, settling into wherever you are today. To bring the connection to your body. Noticing any sensations that are present in your body this morning or this evening if you're watching this on repeat. Becoming aware of how you're feeling, how you arrived on your mat, in your seat or on your back today. Bringing the awareness to the breath, so starting to come present with the breath. And we're not changing anything here, not feeling the need to change or breathe deeper. We're just allowing the breath to be easeful. If you can, breathing in and out through the nose, where the breath is landing in the body, what parts of the body are moving with the breath as you breathe in and out. Noticing the air as you inhale and exhale, passing in and out through the nostrils. Tracking that down, trachea down to the lungs. Noticing the lungs moving with your breath, maybe the belly, maybe the shoulders. We're going to be accessing our breath in a few different ways this morning. So the first way is we're going to place a hand on around our heart, our chest area, and one on just above the belly button, just above the navel, so around the base of the ribs, around the base of the diaphragm. And starting to breathe, inhaling and exhaling here. And seeing if you can start to imagine breathing into the space between each hand. Maybe at first you notice breathing more into the hands and allowing this awareness to seep into the space between them. And just noticing how that might change the experience of your breathing. Noticing how accessible this is for you. And again, if this might be more of a challenge or something you haven't done before. Just allowing it to be as is, no judgment. There's no right or wrong here. We're just noticing what we notice. Starting to bring awareness to the rib cage, the lungs, the diaphragm as it moves with the breath. Taking maybe 4 or 5 more breaths here, inhaling and exhaling easily. Connecting with that space between our hands. The heart and the diaphragm. And gently bringing the hands down to rest on the knees. Taking some easeful breaths again here and just noticing any changes. Maybe in the physical body, maybe it's more in the emotional, the mental body, or just in the breath and how the body is moving, just noticing. And the second way we're going to access our breath in this seated position is to bring that strap or a blanket, or maybe a kind of tie from a dressing gown, anything that you can wrap around you. Or it could even be a jumper or a t-shirt you've got handy, just anything that you can kind of bring around the back body. So I've just got a blanket here. We're just going to hold that around our rib cage here. So above the navel, so if I was around the belly and the navel would be more down here. So I'm just bringing it up so it's more around the actual ribs and the lungs. Just hugging this around your body, and if you don't have anything to put around you, then just imagining that hug around the back of the lungs, around the rib cage. And as you start to breathe here, notice the sides of the lungs as they expand into the blanket or whatever you have, and then condensing down. And then bringing awareness to the back of the lungs. And we have a tendency to sometimes forget that we have our back body or the back of the lungs here. The massive amount of our lung volume is held in the back body. So accessing this part of our lungs really help us to take those fuller breaths and start to breathe into that diaphragmatic breath as well. Expanding and condensing into whatever you have around the rib cage. Hugging inwards as you condense. Expanding outwards, giving that feedback to the brain. Still breathing easily, so we're not trying to strain here. Just directing the breath, directing our attention to the back and the sides of the ribs. Giving the back of our lungs some love and attention. 4 to 5 more breaths here, and I'll leave you to take these yourselves. And once you've finished your 4 to 5 breaths, allowing that blanket to come down to the earth. And sorry, I have quite a needy cat, so I had to let her in then. Otherwise she'll keep meowing throughout the whole video. And again, just noticing what you notice. You're closing down the eyes again. Taking some easeful breaths. Just noticing if your experience is any different after those 2 breathing activities. We're going to begin taking some very gentle movement here before moving down to the earth. So we're going to place one hand down to the earth, allow the other arm to sweep upwards, coming all the way over, taking that kind of side bend over, down to the earth. Taking a breath here, and coming up, taking this over to the other side. One breath here. And then coming up, and taking this again, breathing the arm up. And breathing the arm down. Over to the other side. Coming back up. And then coming back over to the opposite side, breathing the arm up. And then allowing that hand to, if it's comfortable for you, to come down. And start to just massage the side of the rib cage here. So maybe getting between those ribs, through the intercostal muscles, squeezing out the fascia. And just doing whatever feels good for you here. So maybe tweezing out with the fingertips, maybe using the whole hand to give a rub of the area. Through the front of the ribs, maybe down the back of the ribs as well on this side. Just doing what feels good for you. And maybe even taking some light taps along that side of the ribs. And we're just here starting to feel into that fascia around the rib cage. And when we loosen this fascia up, our ribs are able to move more freely and the lungs are able to expand and condense more freely. A couple more breaths, doing whatever feels good for you. And the arm can come all the way up again, breathing the arm up and then back down, coming to center. Just pausing in the center here before we take the other side and noticing if there's a difference for you on each side. Then bringing the opposite arm down to the earth, other arm, breathing it up. And again, bringing it along that rib cage, massaging, tweezing out between each rib. around the back of the body, the front of the body, the side of the ribs, massaging, combing, doing whatever feels good for you here. And maybe taking some tapping like movements, maybe patting. Just gently. A few more breaths here, doing whatever feels good. And then coming back up to center. We're going to take those arm movements side to side with our own breath and in our own time. So I'm just going to guide you through the first few, and then I'm going to let you just take maybe 5 to 10 breaths of your own rhythm. So bringing the arm down, other arm sweeps up, breathing upwards. And an option here is to maybe twist the body down towards the earth. Maybe twist all the way back up towards the sky. And then coming back to center, coming down, breathing the arm down. Placing the other arm down, breathing the arm up. And again, twisting the body down to the earth. Twisting the body back up. Breathing the arm all the way up and back. Moving on to the other side. And start taking any free movement here you might like to take. So you can continue with this movement that I've cued, or you can even circle the arm up and around. Taking whatever feels good for you. There's no right or wrong movement here. There's no right or wrong way to be. I couldn't cue all the possible movements and variations that we can all do here, and everyone's just moving in a way that feels best for you. You might want to take this a bit faster, or maybe slower, or maybe really sync it with that breath. Maybe only moving as the next phase of the breath comes in and out. And again, I'm not cueing any phase of the breath to breathe in or out here, because it's really down to you to decide what feels best for you. And just listening to your body, listening to how your body wants to move. You can place the hand in different positions, so maybe even in front of you, maybe more behind you. Again, keep going with this movement, and this is really just starting to loosen up the fascia, so the fascia that sits under our skin, and helps with that slide and guide of the muscles and all the tissues. And then, as I mentioned before, the more we loosen up this fascia, the more we can start to really access the 360 breathing. Our lungs are able to breathe in and out more. When our fascia gets stuck, that's when we sometimes get stuck in our breath and the lungs aren't able to move as much. So doing these kind of movements are really good for taking that slight stretch, hydrating and moving the fascia. And one of the best ways to move the fascia is by breathing. And one is by moving. And just taking this a few more times, almost like a moving meditation. And allow this to be the last couple of movements you take. And when you're ready, coming back to center and stillness and just feeling what you feel. And maybe there's not much change from how you felt before. Maybe there's a significant difference of how you feel in this lung, rib cage area. From here, we're going to come down to our backs on the earth. So removing any props or bolsters you're sitting on, keeping them somewhere within reach. Coming to lie down on your back. We're going to come into almost like a star position here. So maybe like you're trying to do a snow angel. I'll come around to the side so it's a bit more obvious. And settling down, noticing how the back body feels on the earth here. Maybe you have more awareness of the back of the lungs than you usually would lying down. Maybe not, just noticing. And we're going to take a few rolls here. So in this star-shaped position, bringing one arm up towards the ceiling. And the arm's going to come over and place on the other arm. And then this is going to slide up the arm towards the fingers. And as you do this, the body will start to roll and turn and twist over, and allow that to happen. So coming over, rolling all the way until you land on your front body. And ignore my head positions here, I'm just doing it so you can hear me on the computer. So you're on your front body here, lying down. And then from here, we're going to take that arm again, bringing it up to the ceiling, and allow that to ripple through the body and bring you all the way back over onto your back body. So that's one roll. So we're going to take this on the other side. So other arm will come up, coming up to the sky and coming all the way over to the opposite arm. That will run up the arm towards the fingers. And as you do this, you'll notice your body will start to roll. And allow that roll to ripple all the way over, and you'll end up on your front body. And allow this to be as easeful as possible, these rolls. So trying to take the muscular effort out of the rolling. So I'm just kind of having my upper body up so I can talk to the screen and check everything's okay. But you can keep that muscular effort out of it and really relax. So again, we're going to take this on the other side, bringing the arm up and over. Allowing the arm to pull the body all the way over to come and lie on your back. And take this a few times. So arm comes up, coming over, coming all the way to the other arm, sliding up towards the hand, twisting round, coming onto your stomach. Arm comes up, pulling the body round, coming all the way onto your back. And again on the other side. Arm comes up, coming over. Finding yourself on your back again. And then from here, we're going to lead with the foot instead of the hand. So one foot will come up and over, twisting around the body, and that will pull the body around, twisting up, coming on to your front body. And as you find yourself on your front body, you may want to come up onto the elbows. I'll demonstrate here, onto the elbows, and then one leg, maybe bringing that up. So you're almost like in this lizard sphinx pose. Taking a couple of breaths here, and then allowing that leg to slide down, coming onto the stomach again. And then to twist back, we're going to let the foot lead again. So the foot will come up and over, twisting you over, coming up into this roll. And then taking that on the other side, so foot will come up on the opposite side. And as the foot comes up and over, allow that to ripple the body all the way up and around, rolling onto your front. And then maybe taking that sphinx pose on the other side, opposite leg will come up. Almost like you're crawling like a baby. And then the foot can come down. Again, other foot will reach over. Reaching, pulling, bringing you all the way into that star position again. And take this again on each side. So allow the foot to lead you up and over into that roll. And as you come into that roll, if you'd like to, coming into that kind of sphinx pose, one leg comes up to the side, like you're crawling or like an insect. And then coming back down to the stomach and allowing the foot to lead. And take this in your own time. Allow it to be a really easeful movement. And then on the other side, leading with the foot, leading with the leg. And then this time, see if you can play with maybe leading from the pelvis. So this might be a bit more challenging. And allowing the pelvis will come over and lead, ripple the body in both ways, pulling you over onto your front. And again, maybe coming up into that sphinx pose. And then coming down. Think if you can bring the pelvis as one of the first things again. Pelvis will bring you up and over. The rest of the body follows, coming into that star-shaped position. And then taking this to the other side, so seeing if the pelvis can be one of the first things to move and pull the body like a lever all the way round. And then coming into that child's crawling position. And as you come back to that lying star shape on your back, if you're enjoying this rolling, then let's take this a few more times on each side, but I'm going to let you decide what you lead from. So maybe you carry on with the arm leading you up and over, or maybe it feels good for you to bring that foot or leg up and over and ripple through the body. And if you're not enjoying this, or you're kind of happy where you are, taking some breaths just on your back and just doing whatever feels good for your body here. And the reason why we're doing these kind of rolls today is there are developmental movement patterns. So as we develop from babies, if you've ever watched a baby kind of develop, rolling is obviously one of their developmental movement pathways. And by doing this, we can really free up lots of the fascia in the body, and we can kind of reconnect with that developmental movement pattern. And it can also help a lot with the thoracic spine, so creating mobility in the back body, and that can help a lot with our breathing. And I just love doing this. So maybe just taking this a few more times on each side, and I'll come with you. having a play like a baby might do. And once you found yourself on your back, allowing yourself to settle, you can bring the legs up to constructive rest, so having the feet flat on the mat. Just noticing what you notice here as you come down to rest. And I just want to offer one more movement before we do some more breathing and then a Shavasana. So if you can find yourself in this constructive rest position, so feet on the earth, back body on the earth, knees facing up to the sky. And then from here, allowing one leg to come long, so sliding one leg along the earth. So you have one leg up and one leg here is to bring the hip in line with the knee that's up, upwards towards the sky. And the long leg will stay completely empty of any kind of effort, stay completely relaxed. And this knee will continue coming up towards the sky, but the hip will come slightly over and around. So the movement is something like this. So the hip is coming up and over, this knee is staying pointing straight up, and this leg is completely relaxed, and the upper body is relaxed and coming times in your own time. So hip comes up and then down, allowing the movement to be easeful. We're not trying to strain here or get the hip up as high as possible, and this other hip and glute will stay down on the earth. And you can also bring the arm into this, so the arm comes up towards the sky. And as you come up, it's almost like you're picking fruit or maybe screwing a light bulb. It twists up and out and then comes down, shoulder blade comes down to the earth. And then again, as you come up, maybe twisting the arm the other way, the opposite way, coming down. This is a great movement to help with working into our psoas muscle, which interweaves with the diaphragm, the legs of the diaphragm that comes down from the lungs. It helps to also relax down the shoulders, which again connects with our breath. So really the whole body is connected with our breath, which is why it's so great to do some of these exercises which focus on the lungs, but also other parts of the body as well. And just take this a few more times on this side. When you're happy, bringing the arm down, other leg will come out long. And just noticing what you notice here. Noticing if you feel any difference between maybe the hips or the legs. Maybe one leg feels longer or lighter. Maybe there's no difference, and that's again absolutely fine. Just noticing what you notice. I'm going to take this on the other side, so sliding the opposite leg up to come to stand on the mat. Then this time the other hip, so that hip in line with the knee is going to come up and over. But this knee, we're going to try and keep it facing upwards, facing straight. So pelvis rolls over this knee. I'm trying to keep this knee straight as the pelvis rolls. And then coming down. So we're really moving this, the hip joint in the socket. So the pelvis is moving around the hip joint, and we're trying to keep this hip joint kind of stable and straight. And if you'd like to, you can also bring the arm up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And again, taking that twist as you come up, allowing that to really initiate from the shoulder, so the shoulder will come up and off the earth and then come back down. Arm twisting up like you're picking some fruit, twisting back down, and twisting both ways with the arm, if that's comfortable for you. Take this a couple more times. And then coming to rest on the earth, other leg comes long, resting down, maybe closing down the eyes, noting what you notice. Noting any difference between each side, how the body is feeling. And then rolling the body onto one side, just pushing up to come into a kind of seated position. And if you have a pillow, or maybe a rolled up blanket or a cushion, or if you do have a bolster at home, you're going to use that. But if you don't have anything, then you can just come down to lie on your side without the bolster or anything. That's absolutely fine. But if you do have something to lie on, we're going to come to lie on our side body and draping ourselves over the bolster or whatever we have. And as we do this, we're going to bring that side rib cage, side of the lungs, and bring it over. We're not bringing it to the waist, we're bringing it to the rib cage here. So draping over. And if you have any other maybe cushions or blankets, you can prop up your head here as well. Maybe allowing the arm, bottom arm to come between. And if you don't have anything to support your head, you can support your head using your hand, your arm. Just finding a comfortable view on your side body. Taking a little time to set up. And the legs can be in this kind of 90-90 position, or one can be long, or whatever feels good for you. I find this helpful to really fill into my lungs. That's why I'm in this position. Whatever feels good for you is great. And starting to take a few breaths here through the nose if you can. Noticing where the breath is going in this position. If you'd like to, bring the hand to the rib cage, and as you breathe in, breathing into that hand, and then maybe giving a slight push down as you breathe out. And this is just giving some gentle feedback to the brain, bringing awareness to the side of the ribs. Noticing as the top rib cage expands and condenses. By doing this lying on our side, we can really feel into this upper lung, whatever lung is facing towards the earth, towards the sky, sorry. Whatever lung is facing towards the earth or condensed down. We're allowing more access into this upper lung. Taking 4 or 5 more breaths here. Breathing into the hand, maybe giving a gentle push down as you breathe out. We're going to take this on the other side, so you might like to just roll your body over onto the other side. I'm going to just move around so that I'm still facing the camera, allowing whatever transition you're doing to be easeful, gentle. We're going to take this on the other side, so if you're already there, starting to breathe into that upper rib. Noticing where the breath is flowing. If you'd like to, bringing the hand onto that rib cage, the upper rib cage. Really breathing into the hand. Maybe giving a gentle push down with the hand as you breathe out. And it's just giving the lungs some feedback, the ribs some feedback, and it's just a bit of help with that exhale. And as we inhale, we breathe into the hand, again giving the brain some feedback. Really accessing the side body here. Maybe 4 more breaths here. As you come to the end of that round of breath, then we're going to set up for our final posture. And you can do this kind of lying on your front. So if you have a pillow or a bolster, you kind of drape yourself over whatever you have. So your front body comes down. And then you can either use your hands as a kind of rest, or if you have a blanket or a cushion or anything, you can use that on your forehead. And just finding a comfortable position. And if this isn't what you want to do today, that's absolutely fine. So you can come into a normal shavasana on your back, or maybe drape yourselves over the side of your cushion or your bolster. Just finding a comfortable position for you. And if you are on your front body, this just allows, again, that awareness into the back body. But again, it's completely up to you how you want to take your shavasana today. So I'm going to come to seated so I can guide you into your shavasana, but just taking a couple of minutes here, wherever you are, to find that comfortable position for you, whether it's on your front, on your back, on your side, really setting up in a way which serves you today, nourishes your body. And as you come into your final resting position, of course, knowing that you can move at any time if anywhere is uncomfortable or you'd like to take some movement to become more comfortable or restful, easeful. As you find your final resting place, starting to feel into your physical body, noticing the breath, noticing how you might feel now compared to the start of this class. Are there any changes in the physical body, in how your breathing feels? Maybe in the emotional or mental body, the energetic body. And in yoga, we've got our different koshas or layers of the body that go from physical, energetic, emotional, mental, and then our bliss body. So just checking in with each layer and noticing what you notice. Maybe one is more prominent for you today, standing out more. Just noticing that. And bringing the awareness back to the easeful breath and allowing the breath to inhale and exhale through the nose if that's comfortable for you today. And following the pathway of the air as it travels through the nose, down the trachea towards the lungs. And as it enters the lungs, travels through the spaces smaller and smaller to the alveoli, the tiny air sacs. And from here, it magically diffuses from gas, from air, into the fluids of the body. As this fluid travels around the lungs, it goes back into the heart. And as you travel towards your heart or your heart space, bringing awareness into this area and maybe taking some breaths through the heart, imagining your inhale and exhale are coming from this heart space. This is our heart breathing. Imagining as you inhale, breath inhaling into the heart and then the heart exhaling. The heart is connected to our whole body, so every fingertip, every toe. So as we breathe through our hearts, we're breathing with our whole body as well. The invitation here is to maybe bring to mind someone you love, or maybe a pet or a joyous occasion, maybe your favorite object, something you love, something that brings you joy, and noticing the feelings that come up when you bring this to mind. Maybe those feelings of love, joy, gratitude, rejuvenating feelings, and allowing these feelings to seep into your whole being, your whole body. Allowing every cell to feel how you feel. You're welcome to stay with this feeling and allow it to stay with you, transporting around the whole body, or you can let go and just bring the awareness back to the breath, or allow yourself just to rest, noticing what serves you today, how you want to be in your final few minutes of rest. And I'll leave you here just for 2 or 3 minutes to really feel into however you're feeling. And you're welcome to stay in your Shavasana as long as you'd like, especially as we're at home. That's one of the great things about practicing at home, is that you can really stay in whatever position you want as long as you want. But if you'd like to end the practice with me, then starting to awaken into the body wherever you are, wriggling the toes, and the next couple of breaths coming to lie onto your side, taking some breaths on your side body. And the next breath or two, easily, gently coming up into a comfortable seated position. As you find yourself in your seated position, maybe allowing the eyes to stay closed. Bringing the arms up towards the sky. And then bringing them down towards the chest, gathering up the heart center in whatever way feels good for you. Aroha Mai, Aroha Atu, love and compassion received, love and compassion given. Thank you for joining me today and going through the tech errors. I can still see that most of you are still with me, with us today. I hope you enjoyed the practice and have a lovely, easeful, restful rest of the day. And hopefully see you soon. We miss you in studio. Bye.